So keep in mind, I am telling you from my memory and from my perspective regarding my memory and the events that happened to me back then. This is not in any way to convince you of anything or to create some historical timeline for you, but I can tell you that what I'm telling you is a fact from my perspective, things that happened to me. So, we're going to talk about the Beehive show, Beehive in-store. It was a show and it was an in-store. It was in a record store that used to be Peaches Records in Seattle on 45th. It was the same day that I talked to Chris on the phone, and he told me about the in-store and said, you know, you should get up there early because it's going to be packed with people. It's the release for the single that had Smells Like Teen Spirit before Nevermind came out. So it would have been Smells Like Teen Spirit, Aneurysm, and Even in His Youth were the first three songs to be released. And I don't know if I've ever owned a copy of that. It's weird. I don't know how easy that is to find, even. But yeah, that was the original first DGC Nirvana release. We roll up there. I roll up with a guy named Matt, and he was from a band named Comb. He was the one that owned the video camera. I rolled up there with Matt and Ryan and Matt's girlfriend, and I don't remember her name. We got up there pretty early and make sure that we could get in, and there wasn't really any problem of getting in at that point. It was quite a few people wandering in, though. Word spreads like wildfire, and it was Nirvana. And at that point, I mean, any show that Nirvana played, became pretty packed, if not sold out. We get up there, and I find Chris and Kurt and Dave, and they're setting some stuff up, and Dave had forgotten his hi-hat stand, so we went up to Combs' band practice place and grabbed a hi-hat stand for Chris. I think at some point I made sure it was okay to, videotape, and those guys did not care. So the Beehive video that you see is filmed by Matt and myself. I videotaped for about 10 minutes on that. I remember when it went to Fisheye, I videotaped for just a little while. But it was one of those older, big VHS cameras, so it was heavy and, kind of annoying to have to hold. But yeah, definitely glad that we did. That's the funny thing back then. I mean, you had these big video cameras, but look what you got out of it. I mean, sometimes they're historical documents. I remember talking to Kurt very briefly before the show and talking about their tour a little bit. I think he had said that they were just over in England or wherever. And yeah, I mean, like, documented now, I know that they were over in England, I think, playing the Reading. Was that where the Reading Fest was? I'm pretty sure. And then they played some shows in the U.S. But the only show in between was the OK Hotel show in the Northwest. So that was the last time that I had seen those guys. I think they had even recorded Nevermind in between when the OK Hotel show was, which I think was in April. So yeah, I remember barely even seeing those guys. My living situation was all over the place. I was just trying to figure out what I was doing, and my band was falling apart. Yeah, I was in a pivotal place myself. Anyway, so back to the Beehive. Everybody gets in there, they start playing, and it sounds freaking like super heavy. Something in the Way is still that's one of the most memorable songs, moments I from them playing ever in all of the shows. Something in the Way from that was mind blowing. If you've never watched that whole concert, well, go find Something in the Way and listen to it from the Beehive. So, yeah, I mean, it was packed in a record store, and I remember, like, I think at some point, Chris said something about, like, shoplifting is, illegal or whatever. Hopefully nobody stole anything, but there were some issues with, I think Kurt broke a string, the mic was like falling, or the top of the mic was falling over, so at one point Kurt's like singing upside down into the mic, and at that moment I remember it was pretty, it was kind of funny. It was like, what the fuck? He's going for it, No stopping Kurt. Not a whole lot else. They got done playing, and then, of course, everybody went outside. And I remember pretty quick, Kurt was surrounded with people outside, and he was signing autographs. And this is one of the only times I remember seeing Kurt sign autographs. All the times that I was at shows and hanging out with him, nobody ever came up that I can think of, came up and asked for an autograph until that show. But that picture of him that you see is, I think that's outside the Beehive. That's kind of like the last image that I remember seeing Kurt. So it would have been right outside the main doors. He's sitting down, and there were people just all around him, like handing him CDs and talking to him. I remember like feeling like, wow, okay, I have to almost stand in line to say goodbye to him, But yeah, I just briefly said, hey, I'm taking off. Great show, talk to you later, whatever. And, Kurt was somebody that always acknowledged you, And at that point, they hadn't reached fame, but the single was taking off. So I would think that was also a moment for them that was kind of like, whoa, I don't think they would have imagined this is going to happen every time they play. I'm kind of thinking they imagined that this was just it was the release of the record, so people want it signed, and but yeah, regarding signing things, I don't remember ever seeing Kurt sign anything at all. At least when I was hanging out with him at other shows, nobody came up with like a Bleach record or Blue and like, hey, will you sign this? So anyway, I remember seeing one of Dave's cymbals look like he literally hit it so hard he bent it. And you can kind of see it in the video. They're thin cymbals, but I remember like looking at that cymbal at the show and going like, God damn, he's fucking hitting his cymbal so hard he's bending him. Again, it's like Something in the Way. That was just like one of the heaviest moments I remember in my rock history, was the slow part that they go into and Something in the Way from the Beehive. I don't know if they ever played it like that again. Does anybody know? I can't remember ever seeing a video or hearing a recording of Nirvana playing Something in the Way really heavy in the middle part. Okay, anyway, thanks much. Bye.